Pathmonk is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with the relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add Pathmonk to your website in seconds. Let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us on pathmonk.com. Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Anneli Steutel-Maron from Kando, Business Development Marketing Strategies with them. How are you doing today, Anneli?
Doing well. Thank you for inviting me. So much fun to be here.
It's great to have you on. And Anneli, I'm sure our listeners are tuning in, wondering what Kando is all about. So in your own words, tell us a little bit more.
Oh, I could go on for a long time. But in short, Kando is a wastewater intelligence solution, a DaaS solution, so data as a service. So what we do is we provide insights on the collection system. So anything that's being discharged into the collection system. So from when you're flushing your toilet or a factory is discharging or a restaurant is dumping oil in the sink, the collection system is what we visualize before it gets to the wastewater treatment plant, before the water is being treated and discharged back into the environment or recycled for water. That's what we visualize through AI. So we visualize the collection system and look at the wastewater quality changes and help utilities for that. Yeah.
That's always important. Never thought AI would reach that point, right? But awesome to hear that from Kando. And so that way then our listeners can get good understanding there of Kando at least. What would you say is then that those key problems that you're solving for clients?
Oh, now you get me started. Everyone's familiar with the current challenges. You hear a lot of stories everywhere in the news about, water droughts, not enough water. There are a lot of issues around the world and with different geographic issues, right? Like some have a lot of droughts, some have a lot of storms. So there are different challenges there. But what the wastewater utilities are mainly struggling with is, there are a couple. First of all, it's workforce management. They often don't have, and there's an aging workforce in the wastewater industry, meaning that a lot of people are in their roles for a very long time, and the utility or the sector has challenges in attracting young professionals. So this is one, and if you can't sort of fill your team with enough hands, then you're running into some of the problems of workforce management. Can we still be efficient? Can we cover all the issues? So that's one. Of course, we have infrastructure issues in the industry, meaning that the collection system or the infrastructure is often very old. It can't be replaced soon enough because we don't have enough budget, because water is often seen not as that we have to pay for by the community, or people often don't realize how much work goes into treating the water that we actually drink and discharging it back into the industry. So budgetary issues are a very big thing. And then, of course, we have a lot of issues with illegal discharges going into the wastewater, which makes it harder for the wastewater treatment plants to treat it. The wastewater treatment plants could break. It could harm the operations or the bacteria that are treating the water in the wastewater treatment plant. So there are many types of issues that I can mention that the utilities are dealing with simultaneously. Another one is PFAS. We've probably heard about the issues, microplastics being in the water. So it's currently being regulated in the United States. How do utilities deal with it? How do we need to monitor that? How do you need to treat it? So these are all the issues that utilities are dealing with while trying to achieve their objective is providing clean water for all. So these are the key issues that our market is really dealing with, and that we're trying to help them with by partnering with them on trying to take away more time-consuming tasks from utilities by monitoring the wastewater collection system, understanding the wastewater quality in the system, so that the wastewater treatment plant doesn't have to work that hard, or, for example, that specific departments in the utilities don't have that many time-consuming tasks. So I'll give you a small example. Is that, for example, the compliance team or pre-treatment team? Those are that's the department that actually looks at wastewater quality, making sure that industries are meeting their permits and not discharging anything that they cannot. And we help those departments by for them understanding what is in the collection system, what's going on, where the discharge is coming from. Is it meeting the standards? Is it meeting the permits? Yes or no? Is it harmful to the wastewater treatment plant? And then we can automate all of, for example, automated samples, but also the insights that helps them take strategic decisions on, do we need to divert a flow towards a wastewater treatment plant because there's a harmful event coming towards that could kill microorganisms, for example. So I hope that was a bit clear, because I could continue for a very long time.
I think that's a good understanding there. So, I mean, that don't want to assume here. So is there a certain vertical segment that you guys like to go for?
In regard to within the wastewater utility, we work mainly with the wastewater treatment plant team and the collection system team and the compliance team, because they are sort of all connected together. Wastewater treatment plants mainly very important, because if you have too much flow coming into the wastewater treatment plant that needs to be treated, so it's like a traffic jam, right? It's like if you have too many cars on a highway, if there are too many events going into the wastewater treatment plant at the same time from specific areas, the wastewater treatment plant can run optimally. So what we do is we help them through there by visualizing the collection system and managing the operations and flow into the wastewater treatment plant. Compliance and collection system, because infrastructure is also connected to it. Like, for example, breweries have high acidity that they discharge, which affects the infrastructure lifespan because of the acidity, and this degrades the pipe itself. So those are the main three departments that we work closely with. Sometimes if the utilities has other ideas on utilizing wastewater data for specific other departments, we're happy to utilize that through an API or something that we also do.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Great to hear that. So then how would say I'm in the utility business, how would I usually find out about Kando? Is there a top client acquisition channel for you guys?
Well, yes. So the market that we have, it's a very relationship driven market. It's a government market. We all know that the government markets, it's a little bit slower. You have RFPs because we're dealing with public money. So there are certain processes in place that you don't necessarily, that you have to go through in order to work with utilities. So in order to connect to those, we utilize marketing activities like through webinars, conferences, speakers. I briefly mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if I mentioned earlier, but in regard to our market, it's very scientific driven. So I work closely together with the research team and the data team to understand, what is the latest research that we've done. Can we publish any of that data to support the utility and them understanding what is actually going on in terms of technology development, what is out there, what else could be done, and providing them with different types of ideas on how they could improve their operations and be a little bit more efficient in specific areas on utilizing different types of technologies that they might have not worked before. But you do that through basically educative marketing. So we really work on webinars, talking about AI a lot, letting our clients speak through case studies in webinars, engage with the market, be part of the communities that they have and the committees that they have where they address certain issues. So you are positioned as a collaborative partner. We're there to help the industry, and we're there to help to make your day easier and to be more efficient. So that is mainly our focus in regard to marketing activities in order to get to the prospects that we would like.
Awesome. All right. Great to hear that. And so that way, then our listeners who are tuned in could go ahead and visit you guys. They could always check you guys out at kando.eco. That's ECO. What role then does the website play for client acquisition?
It's a very informative role. We publish most of the webinars through there. Our case studies, our white papers are through there. So through there, it's an inbound lead. But as I mentioned before, since our market is very data driven, part of our marketing activities is also mostly dedicated to making sure that you attend conferences, that you build relationship. Utilities mainly work with engineering firms. So this is also an important relationship that you need to build up with, because they have technology advisors. Now, there is another aspect of a utility, since they're already so busy with all their challenges that they need to address on their daily work. We are also providing them a different type of business model than a regular solution provider would do. So our business model is set up as a DaaS solution provider, which is called a data as a service solution provider. So what happens there is that when we deploy, we take away any type of extra involvement from the utility. So we have our own external partners that we work with that deploy everything, that maintain everything, and that provide the insights and do the development on the software aspect. So the utility side basically only receives the service. And what this does for a utility, that it takes away the risk of deploying a technology. Because as you can imagine, if the industry is so budget restricted, they are time restricted, they don't have enough people, and then deploying new types of technology to test out if this actually works for them and this addresses the challenges that they're having. We're trying to take that away and really be there as a partner for them. So that is something that we're really focusing on in our marketing efforts, and being transparent through a website, so people could reach out through there or download any type of information that they need, or attend some of the webinars that we're attending.
Awesome. All right. Great to hear that. And well, let's switch gears then a little bit here, Ellie, and let's talk about you as a leader. You being the business development marketing strategist there for Kando, what are some key tasks you like to focus on your day-to-day work?
Whoa, I do a lot. I cover a lot of things. So first of all, I think my since I work with multiple time zones, my first part of the day is really focused on connecting with my teams back in Europe and in Israel to see what's going on, what are the new developments, to the product team, to the data team, and the customer success team to understand, what are the challenges. And from there, it's really on. So it could range from submitting abstracts for marketing strategy of 2025 that I'm currently focusing, since all the abstracts are due, conference strategy for the sales team, marketing activities for the campaigns that need to go out. So what type of campaigns do we need to align around certain types of conferences, product features, product launches. So it could be a variety. So a bit of depends on the current milestone of the company that I need to address my marketing activities for. It could be campaign focused, but it could be abstract focused, writing the abstract together with the research team and the data team, developing a webinar, coordinating the multiple organizations, partners, and utilities in order to provide a good agenda for a webinar, or prepare a presentation for a conference like we do. For example, the upcoming conference where we're talking about is NACWA, which is the National Agency of Clean Water Association, where we'll be talking a bit more about AI. So that has a bit of we have a lot of facets within our product, the hardware, software, and expert services. So I need to switch quite a lot on the type of marketing and content that I need to do, and how to frame that in the most transparent way.
Okay, awesome. And talking about NACWA, is that the upcoming event that you guys will be attending?
Yes, we have our Chief Solution Officer, Ori Reshev, that will be speaking there. He has a data background. He used to work at SAP, and he is now leading our solution, very data-driven. So at NACO, we will be talking about the impact of AI on the wastewater industry. So, how can we use it? How can we utilize it? How is it safe? And what else can we all do to make our days more efficient? Because everyone now is using AI in their daily lives. I'm hoping that everyone's using ChatGPT or Gemini, just for the simple task, that helps you do things a little bit more efficient or quicker. And then you have a starting point from where you have to work. So this is the same for the wastewater utility industry. We're really going to be focusing on, what does AI do? How does it work? Open that black box. What type of machine learning models, AI models, how are they integrated? How does it work? What type of wastewater data do you need for that? How do we need to organize that data before? And so we're really going to take a deep dive on how do we organize that, and what type of data do we need, and what type of models do we need, and how does that integrate very well within the structure of a utility.
Definitely important. Okay, awesome. Great. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and looking forward for our listeners to attend NACWA or listen to you guys out there. And let's jump into our next section then here, which is our rapid fire question rounds. Are you ready for them?
I try.
All right, perfect. First off then is, what is the last book that you read?
The last book I'm reading a book. It's called The Sweet Rating Sweetgrass. It's a really great book. It's like I forgot the lady who wrote it, but it's an amazing book. I can recommend it everyone because it's a combination of the values of the native Indians on how to engage and be aware of the environment, of taking and giving versus the scientific approach. How do we look at the environment? How do we do research? How do we come to our conclusions? But do those conclusions actually connect to how the holistic perspective of, for example, the Native Indians work? So it's a really nice book that combines cultural values, environmental values versus a scientific approach to the environment. And I think it's just wholesome. And it discusses certain type of aspects of society, which on how to improve, which I always enjoy. Sorry, I could go very long on that.
That's perfect. All right, great read there for our listeners. Next up then is, if there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
Well, that's a very good question. I don't necessarily have a very good answer. Probably help more with the back office of all the tools that we're using and integrating. If there was no limit to technology, I would like to have one button that could integrate all of our back offices and different types of platforms that we're using without too much investing effort. That I could just talk to a system and say, I would like you to set up this CRM system with this platform and integrate this calculator in there for on a landing page and on a website. If I could do that and just talk and it will work for me, perfect.
All right, that sounds like something that everybody would want, something like that, right?
Yes. You said no boundaries.
Yeah. All right. Next up then is, if there's one repetitive task that you could automate, what would that be?
Sorry, then I could automate what?
Yeah, if there's one repetitive task that you could automate, what would that be?
Well, we're already doing it. The first thing that comes to mind is note-taking and summarizing. But I'm using two tools for it now. So I'm subscribing the notes, or I'm utilizing it from Zoom, and then I add it into ChatGPT in order to summarize it. So maybe a combination of those.
Okay. That's great to hear. Okay, awesome. And well, I mean, Anneli, there's no doubting your experience in the marketing world, but what would be that one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Oh, I would say rush less. Take more time for the campaigns, and you're doing your research for your target market, in identifying the target audience and the specific roles within the specific department and what they do, and really take a little bit more time to really dive a little bit more into the deep into the specifics of a specific role and adjust the campaign to that. Because I think in the beginning, when I started in marketing, it was more general, and I think only later on I dove in deep. That you need to go more into the details, but I think pressing time and let that influence you, and being very rushed doesn't help your creativity. So I would say really focus more on the quality campaigns and dive in deep, and just take that moment and actually take a walk whenever you're working on something. And even though you're stressed, and even though you have a deadline that you need to make, take a walk, or I don't know, do yoga, or go take a bike ride, or something that frees up space in your head, because it will bring you so much more creativity if you have that moment of silence and acceptance. And then you'll see that it actually leads to a higher CTR click rate, because you've given it a bit more thought and you allowed your creativity to take a step further rather than just pushing and meeting deadlines. So that's what I would tell my younger self.
Definitely some great advice there, not just for yourself, but for all our listeners. Thanks so much for that, Anneli. And well, we are coming to the end of the show here today, Anneli. But before we do end, I do want to give you the last word. Say someone forgets everything about the interview today. What is that one thing they should remember about Kando?
Oh, clean water for all. make sure that we're here to provide clean water for all, and to protect the environment that we're in, because in the end we only have one big water source and we all need to deal with it, and we all need it today. So yeah, protecting the environment and clean water for the public.
That is very super important. So to our listeners, check them out at kando.eco. And Lee, thank you so much for being on with us today. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm looking forward to our next episode at Pathmonk Presents. Thanks a lot, Anneli.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I hope I could share something that was beneficial and valuable to our listeners.
It was. I mean, water is one of the main keys in our world, in our daily lives. So definitely important.
Yeah. If you have any questions, let me know. Happy to talk about it for hours.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Anneli.
Have a good one.